So let's continue. And to those who join us, I just to remind you that we learn now the third law of Noah, or to be more precisely, the third law of Adam. It was given to Adam in Eden. Adam got 6 commandments. Noah only added, at the end of the story here, at the Rainbow Covenant, he added 1 more. So the entire 7 are called after him. But in fact, it was the first 6 were given to Adam in Eden, and he added only 1. It's important distinction, because the original 6 from Eden are so-called, has become our natural code of morality. The scientists always wondered, the philosophers, 18, 19, Kant, and so on, how is it possible that humanity were born with such a instinct? Don't kill, don't commit adultery, and don't steal, and they talk about the natural code. Well, the Torah says it's natural code. Indeed, it's natural because we are born. It was embedded in us at the time that Adam and Eve were in Eden. So the first 6, and now we are on earth. The story moves on, and Genesis moving on, and Cain killed Abel, and now we are at the stage where we are learning about the commandment number 3, which is bloodshed. Bloodshed could not happen in Eden. Nobody could kill in Eden. But once they came on earth, bloodshed surfaced to be on the top, because the first 2, idolatry and adultery, could be violated in Eden, and indeed they were violated in Eden. Idolatry by eating the food, adultery if she cohabited with a serpent. So the first 2 were applicable to Eden, but bloodshed became the first applicable on earth. So that's why we are now on earth talking about the bloodshed law. It's not incidental. And I also want to point out how amazing it is that the Torah, think about it, the Torah elect to present Noah not in the context of idolatry or the Messiah or end of time or who knows what. The Torah elected to present Noah with bloodshed law, as if to tell us, the Noahide movement, that this is a DNA of your movement. What we are learning now is something that every Noahide should be familiar with, more than anything else. And the Torah devotes entire segment of the Torah just to tell us what bloodshed is and what the Rainbow Covenant is, which is based on the bloodshed law. Okay. Now, last time, if you go back to last time, to refresh our memory, we learned about the unbelievable drama that took place at the exit of the ark, from the ark, where God, Elohim, the judge, ordered Noah to exit, and Noah declined. He won't go out to procreate and to start new civilization. He didn't want to bring more children to the world. Why should he? Fearing that that everything will repeat itself, and the flood will return. So why should he bring children to the curse, as the Talmud says? Excuse me. So this was a new Noah. Until now, he was the one who the Torah described him before the flood as a righteous person who walked with Elohim. He never hesitated to fulfill anything that Elohim told him. He was righteous Noah. He walked with Elohim. This is how he described. And here, after the flood, Elohim told him go out, and he declined. So it's a new Noah. It's more mature Noah. It's the one who stands on its own free will. And that's important. Because you don't sign a treaty between man and God unless man is mature and has a free will. You don't sign treaty with babies. So the point, the fact that Noah now matures, so to speak, during the flood, and now he's standing on its own, and Elohim telling him, go out, walk here. And he said, wait a minute, I'm not. Unless I have some conditions to tell you, Elohim. Otherwise, I will not procreate. So that's a new Noah. And that's a Noah that is our father. And that's the whole Rainbow Covenant is based on that Noah. Not on a specific Noah, baby Noah, who listened to Elohim. It's a Noah that stands on its own. For the distinction. And it's recognized by the heavenly court because the heavenly court signed a treaty with him, a covenant, which he didn't do before. So the flood changed Noah. So now, what was on his mind? Why didn't he go out? He didn't want to go out. The Torah doesn't say why, but we can reconstruct his thought by looking what he did after the flood. Because as soon as he finally went out, he and his family, he went in his son alone and his wife and son wives alone. So they still didn't want to procreate, refused to procreate. But as we said last week, they went straight from Mount Ararat. They traveled by foot from Mount Ararat in Turkey to Jerusalem, Mount Moriah. Why Mount Moriah? Because there, and here is the point, he tells us why he went there. As soon as he got there, he showed his children, his son, 3 sons, you see, these are the stones of Cain and Abel. This is a place where Cain had killed Abel. And this is a place where bloodshed started. And you need to know this is a place where bloodshed will stop. And I want you, one day, this is what the Midrash says, to build here a city of peace. Jerusalem. Jeru is city. Salem is peace, city of peace. To recall that bloodshed has started here, and bloodshed will one day fade away from the world, from that city. Meanwhile, unfortunately, we know how much blood has been spilled on that very spot, even after Noah, for the sake of Jerusalem. But that's the origin of the place. Now, he built his altar, we said last time, to identify with Abel. He, before that, why was he so fearful about returning of the flood? Because, after all, he saw himself as a new Adam. His wife, Nama, was a new Eve. But the children are the first family. And very soon the story will repeat itself. A new kind will arise from our children and kill his brother. And then the whole chain of events that started with Cain and ended up with the flood will come back. He was fearful of it. He saw the cascade of events that necessarily would take him down the hill, from the first murder to finally the flood. And it will be repeated, he said. We'll see why he was so sure about it. In that case, he wanted to show the children, okay, remember, this is place where it all started. Don't make the mistake, don't repeat it. And here is a place where Abel blood seeped to the ground under the mountain, and then came to the surface on the southern valley of Mount Moriah, which is called hell, because God says to Cain, the earth that absorbed your blood, the blood of your brother, your soul will be buried there. So the blood of your brother is calling from that place. So that place is the southern valley, which had a nickname of Gay Valley of Hinnom, the owner. In short, Gehinnom. In Hebrew, this became hell. In the time of Jeremiah, it was called Tophet. Tophet where the Molech, children were sacrificed to the Molech right there. And for centuries, it just happened, this stripped valley, which you can still see when you visit Jerusalem, is still barren, still inhabited. So he going back to Noah, he's standing on a mountain and he showed children, this is where all happened. And he built a new altar. And in his mind, what was in his mind? He thought about Cain, as he thought about Cain and Abel, he thought how foolish it is, how stupid it is, how impossible it is that people will murder each other. A brother will kill his own brother for the sake of mercy and compassion. How it can be? It doesn't make any sense. And that question, actually, we can ask too, from our 21st century. We can also ask, how could it be that Catholic and Protestant kill each other to the death with rape and viciousness, destruction during the Holy War in the name of mercy? How is it possible that such violence erupted in the name of mercy? How could it be, for instance, that Muslims under Muhammad committed the first Holocaust ever when they conquered the city of Medina and they annihilated the entire Jewish community by the sword, the first Holocaust, all in the name of the merciful Allah. They call him the merciful Allah. Don't you see a paradox? And we can also ask many other questions, like how the Spanish Inquisition burned people on a stake in the name of, to save their soul in the name of mercy. So it's a paradox that inflicted mankind since Abel, Cain and Abel. And that perhaps was on his mind because he was thinking about all these feature that could be maybe stopped in the future. He was thinking, what brought the downfall of mankind? So here is a paradox. Started is a big paradox, which means, and here is the point, that's why I brought it up. He could conclude that there was something underneath that. It was not the issue of mercy or belief. There was other factor that overridden it, that more stronger than anything else that pushed people to kill. And that's, of course, in case of Cain, you see the ego, the jealousy, and that can be the reason that he was flushed with rage, and he did the most paradoxical thing that you can think of: killing in the name of mercy, murdering in the name of mercy. And so, what is this? What are these factors that underlying the paradoxical murder? And as Noah, again, we can reconstruct. I'm reconstructing now. Noah thought it's not appearing in the text, but it appears later in a response that God responded to his plea at the altar. So, whatever God said there is a response to what was in his mind. So if you look back, once we will read what Hashem told Noah as a response, so we can derive what was on his mind. And what was on Noah's mind is this: what actually was behind Cain killing Abel is Eve fascination. You can see it, let's say you can see it, it's in Eve fascination. When she gave birth to Cain, she had two fascinations. One fascination, we already talked about it, fascination with Hashem, with the Yud Hey Vav Hey, the merciful Hashem. Because we already learned that Eve, out of a terrible or hard labor that she might have, she was cursed with hard labor. And out of pain and almost confronting the angel of death, finally she exited from that, holding the baby in her hand. So out of the depth, facing the angel of death, now she climbed up with a baby in her hand, in emotion. Her blood is filled with hormones. She is happy. She is full of joy. Her whole outlook is changing. She sees the future, a good future, hope, love, mercy, compassion, like no mother feels. And that is even understood. This is what our mother in heaven, so to speak, why she feel for us. Adam, a man, couldn't feel it. And she, the one who was able to feel, that's why Rabbi Bachye, the French rabbi that wrote commentary on the Torah, said, my son, he says to the reader, look at Eve's words. Here is the first time YHVH appear alone in the text. Prior to that giving birth, YHVH either in chapter 1 appear mysteriously as an acronym, and then side by side in the open, but side by side with Elohim in Soviet, and never alone. But now on earth, facing the angel of death and climbing out with hope, now she is able to see YHVH, the merciful attribute, in a full glory, standing alone. So that's one fascination that she could feel, that she expressed by the name she gave to Cain. I purchased a man with Hashem. I purchased both the child and the perception of Hashem, she said. That's why I call him Cain, purchase. But on the other hand, but the second fascination she had, obviously, you see it from her word, is a fascination with ownership. I purchased a man with Hashem. In Eden, she never owned anything. Now, with her labor, she purchased a son. Adam, with his labor, will purchase a food or the crop or whatever he does. An artist owns the art that he produces. She owned the child because she labored for it. And this is my child. The point is, and here we come to the main crux, is by saying this, the opposite also came to the surface. She seeded also the opposite. The passion for Hashem, we know from Eden, came with the opposite, with the knowledge of evil, the opposite, which is killing, murdering, stealing, whatever Hashem hates. So the passion to do the opposite of Hashem also suffers. Remember Eve, when she ate the fruit, she felt that it is sweet to the her eyes open up and show how sweet it is. Sin became sweet. Passion for sweet. Passion to do the sin. So the knowledge of Hashem automatically incur the knowledge and the feeling of the opposite of evil. Evil in the Torah is whatever Hashem hates. YHVH hates. And the passion for ownership inside the opposite of what? Of exclusion. If it's my mother, she is not yours. If this is my God, I own it, I feel it because I own it, it's not yours. If it's my land, it's not yours. So she seeded the option of killing, on one hand, the passion for killing. Suddenly, taking blood, killing, suffers to become a passion, secret passion in the heart. And an exclusion means it's my God, not yours. So all that you can imagine that all that suffers on Noah's mind as he was standing by the altar, preparing himself for the sacrifice. So here are some underlying factors that Noah could think of, probably thought about, as he stood and wondering what brought the downfall of mankind. Why mankind is slid down the hill, especially in bloodshed and theft. Bloodshed and theft. Bloodshed comes from the opposite of mercy. Theft comes from the opposite of ownership. So right in Eve's words, you can see that mankind can stumble over what? over bloodshed and over theft, number 3 and 4, which together is called Hamas. Remember, before the flood, the heavenly court in session said that the earth was filled with Hamas, evil Hamas. And he said Hamas is a bloody combination of killing and stealing. So here in the text, in E words, you see the seed of that. So as he stood there, we learned that he raises his hand. No, he decided to bring offering from animal rather than vegetable. He didn't want to emulate Cain, the killer, but he wanted to emulate the victim, identified with Abel. He also recalled that Hashem actually leaned towards Abel and his sacrifice. So if he wanted to please Hashem, he offered him Abel sacrifice. That's why he elected animal rather than vegetable. And he built this altar as a square, we say, from stone, from the same stone that Cain and Abel had built, with a square with a ramp on the south. And that became a prototype for all the kosher altar after Noah. When Moses, King Solomon, and Ezra and build their own altars for the Holy Temple, they follow that example. Square with a ramp on the south. Sometimes most of the time filled with dirt. Following Noah. And silently, and he took what animal he chose from. He took from those species that he had brought into the ark in a sample of 7, like lamb, goats, and so on. Those species that he brought up to the ark in sample of 7, those he offered on the altar, and those will become the kosher food for Israel. So if you ask why this goat and why Israel this meat is kosher, it's called kosher animal, and why a lion is not kosher or turtle is not kosher? Because Noah brought these kosher animals in sample of 7. Deer, antelope, whatever, all these animals that is considered kosher, he brought on that altar. And as he offered them, he chose to offer them not as a gift offering, like Cain and Abel, but as a burnt offering. Because as a burnt offering, you pour out your heart, you don't say a word, nobody hear you, not even your family, only Hashem hear you. So you download your heart and it goes up to the sky with the smoke. And to his wife, it looked very weird. She has taken care of those animals for so many months, and now this guy is slaughtering them? She was appalled. What are you doing? But he was adamant. I'm going to emulate Abel, identify with a victim Abel, because I want to teach my son to stop killing. I want to make a point. That's how he thought. And we said last time, as he was raising his hand, he was passionate, and then he prayed to Hashem, Hashem, take my thought, you know what I need. I need you to approve me that my children will not suffer another flood that will change the human heart. Hashem, you read my heart. You know what I want, and you know what to answer it. Silently, that's burnt offering. And he hit down the animal one by one, and it was roped with thought, and the smoke came up. But lo and behold, a wind came from the west, brought with it a lot of dark, heavy cloud that hung over the mountain and didn't allow the smoke to go up. That's exactly what happened to Cain. So suddenly the mountain, Mount Moriah, was filled with stench of burned flesh. And everybody there was shocked. What a humiliation to Noah. He was not accepted. If he is bringing offer like Abel, well, Abel offering went up straight. His offering hung over the mountain like Cain. He was rejected. So he's standing there deflated, despaired, even more worried about the future. That if he is rejected, maybe our children have no future here. The flood will certainly come back. They will certainly kill each other. A point I want to mention, why he was sitting in the ark and thinking about bloodshed, why it came out to the surface so much? Because around him in the ark, there was no death. The lion or the wolf didn't prey on the wolf, on the lamb, and kid could play safely on the snake pit, like whatever Isaiah said in the future. This has already happened in Noah's ark. So there was no bloodshed. And so this is contrasted his experience from the generation of his own generation, which the earth was filled with bloodshed, killing, and murder. Started with only one family, but it became rampant. So he was so bothered with this bloodshed issue. So now, as he's sitting there, rejected, surrounded or warped by the smoke, he have now time to think quickly, to run his history, his own history, and the history of the generation, and to find out what point he can bring to Hashem in his defense. What else can he say to Hashem? So he ran the whole history quickly in his head. And he recalled that the first 3 generations were pious. After Adam and Eve, they all believed in Hashem, they would live peacefully. But suddenly, in the 3rd generation, the time of Enosh, the grandson of Adam and Eve, there was a sudden split in humanity. And when there's a split, there is a warfare. It's like colonies of ants. You raise ants in a petri dish, you split them in a carton, then you move the carton, and they fight each other. And with a split, mankind is just another social creature from nature. So if there is a division, there is a fight, there is a war. And as it turned out, each camp, 2 camps, each one developed its own faith. One believed in YHWH, one believed in Elohim, and each one was sure that only his way is right. God is mine, is not yours. Each one said to the other. And it came to hate each other, to the point that they didn't even marry each other. And the earth was filled with bloodshed and war between them. It was not war conducted by armies. Armies we'd see later on in Abraham time. At that time it was gangs conducting murdering and stealing from each other. We'll talk about it. So who are those camps that we need to know, that Noahide should be aware of it? One camp, the first camp was Enosh camp. Enosh was the grandson of Adam, illustrious orator, illustrious man. Humanity is still called after him in Hebrew, Enoshim. So he had left a strong impact. Enosh. The Torah says about him that, I quote to you, it was then that they began calling in the name of Hashem. I repeat, Shet had this, to him was born, begot a son, and he called him Enosh. It was then that they began calling in the name of Hashem. Now, many commentaries says calling in the name of Hashem in praying to Hashem. But that's not right, because praying means calling to Hashem. Here it says calling in the name of Hashem. What does it mean, like calling in the name of Hashem? So it's better insight to that. And the Midrash says, and the Book of Zohar says, and many other commentary, but the Midrashim said, that I draw the idea from them, that what it means, they in his time they began calling in the name of Hashem. Enosh instigated the belief that Hashem is everywhere. Yud-Heh-Vav-Keh is everywhere. She is inside the leaf of the tree, inside the stone, inside the mountain, inside everything, inside me, inside you. Deep, deep, deep inside, we all harbor her, which could be true. But the consequence from that is what he took for is not true. You see, so calling in the name of Hashem, the disciples saw him standing, let's say, standing by the tree and calling Hashem in the tree. So they thought he's praying to the tree, the Rambam said. But in fact, he was calling Hashem inside the tree. So this was an Enosh error. You don't do it in front of disciples who don't understand what you're doing. So he saw Hashem everywhere. That's one explanation. The second explanation, which is not different but more elaborate, is that he called in the name of Hashem because he saw the forthcoming of mercy to rule our world. The Sabbath, eternal Sabbath is here, coming. The reign of mercy, the kingdom of mercy is about to enter. So stop what you're doing. What are you? Think about what's going to happen now. He preached. And if Hashem if mercy is coming, then Elohim is not so important. Maybe his laws are abrogated, not important anymore. The Sabbath is coming here. Now, who was Enosh? Now, you can describe, it's worthwhile to describe him. Because Enosh is described as a miracle of nature, I quote, miracle of nature, never to be repeated. So he was at the age of 900. He died 904. So at the age of 900, his body and mind was as sharp and young as a man of age 30. He was a giant, but slim, muscular, very beautiful and passionate man, full of love and compassion. And he had countless wives and concubines. That's how his seed filled the earth. He lived 190 years. How many children he could produce? The guy. Earth was filled with Enosh seeds. That's why humanity is still called Enoshim, children of Enosh. We still carry that. And he was, most importantly, the greatest orator that mankind ever had. When he spoke, his voice rolled over the audience from distances. A warm, beautiful, rich voice, mesmerizing the audience. And when he spoke to them about the coming of mercy to all the world, they enter ecstasy. They sang hymns, they fell on the floor, they clapped their hands, and they chanted. Who would not? If you are told that mercy is about to come, the Sabbath is coming, like around the corner, maybe tomorrow, who would not follow that craze? And on top of that, Enosh is towering there on the puppet, and you see this grandson of Adam and Eve speaking to you. He knows what he's talking about. He is a true prophet. But also the verses, they began, in his time, they began Uchal. So the rabbi said, the word Uchal also means in Hebrew, begin. He began calling in the name. What I mean calling in the name, so you can imagine that's actually means what calling in the name. The masses, they began calling in the name. When the masses were afflicted with ecstasy, they called in the name of Hashem. In divine ecstasy, singing her name, hailing Hashem. And he also that he profaned the name. Uchal also profaned because he neglected the name of Elohim. And people forgot that Elohim exists. So by itself, it's a sort of idolatry. When we learn about idolatry, we say there are foolish idolatry of stone and wood and all that. But the top form of idolatry on the long line of possible idols, is a split. When you split the attribute, when you say either you neglect Elohim and you worship only Yud-Heh-Vav-Keh, or you do the opposite. When you split the glued one, in Eden they are glued, the two cherubim are touching each other, like in the Golden Ark, the glued one. So the Talmudic term is separating the glue one. So by separating the glue one, you worship either mercy or not. Mercy, passion, she's coming. And you forget about, and the laws are abrogated. Or you turn around and you worship Elohim. Either way, it's the highest form of sheer idolatry. And since mankind is born by the two attributes, and mankind is born to stand the idolatry trial, Noah could conclude that this is inevitable. This split that occurred in Enosh's time is inevitable, and it will come again and again and again. Yeah, there will be many forms of idolatry. But this form of idolatry, the highest one, the most intelligent one, that will occur to intelligent people, actually well-minded people, they will fall a prey to that separate attraction, either attraction to worship Hashem alone, mercy, or worship Elohim. And this split in the middle, since it happened in his time, and that caused so much trouble, because each camp degenerated into the whole line of from idolatry to adultery to bloodshed to killing and theft. So the whole line that slid down, inevitable. So both sides ended up with terrible bloodshed. And if this is bound to happen again and again and again, now tell me, why should they bring children to the world? It's predictable. It's inevitable. So Nancy, now you got the answer. He realized that something is inherited in us. We are born to stand this idolatry trial, and we sooner or later humanity will split again. One will worship Allah, Elohim, Elohim, and one will worship mercy alone. Each one actually committing idolatry, sort of idolatry, because splitting the attribute. And if that happens, idolatry will start the whole process of sliding down from number one, adultery, to number two, adultery, to number three, bloodshed. It's inevitable. It's an inherited. Well, he said to himself, we are doomed. Our bloodshed is waiting for us sooner or later. Also, he thought, in other words, and all I'm saying, you will see there that Hashem is addressing those points. And he says to himself, if everything is ending up with bloodshed, so no matter where you come from, you may be pious in this fashion, worshiping YHVH, mercy alone. You may be pious worshiping Elohim alone. Either way, whatever you start, will bring you down to bloodshed, which has been our bloodthirsty heart will take over sooner or later. We are animals, and animals are bloodthirsty, ants killing each other. And we are just colonies of ants, separated by faith. And we will kill each other. So our bloodshed is inherited us, and it will haunt us time and again, inevitable. So tell me, God, he's sitting there wrapped with the smoke. One moment. You tell me. You don't want to listen to me. But you tell me, should I bring? Is it sensible to bring children to such a doomed future? I know that sooner or later humanity will split again and again, and they will kill each other. And maybe next time it will be not a flood of water, it will be a flood of fire, atomic bomb, who knows? And here we come to our time. So this must be on his mind, as I said, what I said, based on the answer of Hashem to me. Now, we talk about Enosh, Ken. In Enosh line, by the way, and here in the Enosh line are all righteous people. Noah himself is number seven generation after Enosh. Okay. Enosh was about 900 when Noah was born. I can give it like that number, but that's matter. But Noah was 7 generations down the road from Enosh line. All the ancestors were righteous people. Among them, the famous Anoch, who never died, Hashem Elokim took him, it said. And Methuselah, the sage who lived longer than anyone else. This was his own grandson, Noah's grandfather, Methuselah. So Noah was born into an unknown person, not important person called Lamech. And he was number 7 after Enosh. What was special about Noah is that he was born with blemish. He was born circumcised, to the laughter of the entire town. Look at this guy, this man, and now maybe a congenital defect, but in that place, to be born unheard of. Born circumcised. Who never heard about such a thing? Shame. His parents, however, knew differently, because they knew that Adam himself was born circumcised. So they thought to themselves, wow, this boy of ours is important, has some future. Maybe a new Adam, who knows? That's why they call him in Hebrew Menachem. They added the M, Noah, add M before that and M after that. So 2 M, and call Noah Menachem. Menachem means comfort. He will make, the verse says, this boy will make the fate of the farmer easier. He will bring comfort to mankind. And indeed, when Noah was in adulthood, he, the one who took his sword, his brother-in-law's swords, maybe talk about it, Tubal-Cain swords, and he melted them into metal plow. And that's inspired the Israeli prophet many years after that. So Noah was the first to melt down his swords into metal plow. And he the one who was supposed to bring comfort to mankind. Unfortunately, his mother passed away in his youth, so he became orphan. Methuselah, his grandfather, took him for a little while, but didn't work. And then Enosh stepped in. The famous oracle, Enosh, 7 generations higher than Noah heard about this guy. And Enosh knew Adam, and he knew that Adam was born circumcised. So he sent over messenger to Lamech, Noah's father, and he asks Lamech to let him adopt the boy, because his mother passed away. And Lamech agreed because he married another woman. So Noah was adopted by Enosh. And think about the difference in time between age. 900 and Noah was young. And to give you a clue, Enosh passed away at age 904 when Noah was 89. That's what I read. So probably Noah spent his youth with Enosh, but he's still fresh and active. So Enosh took Noah and trained him to become his heir. And Noah was a wonderful disciple. So, and therefore, they formed a special love between them, not only as teacher and a disciple, but as a grandfather and a grandson. And there was a special connection between them. So Noah actually followed Enosh everywhere he went. And he saw how Enosh speak to the crowd, mesmerizing them. And he learned that was supposed to do when he grew up. He was a teenager. But then he slowly, gradually, he detached himself from Enosh to the pain of Enosh. And he said, I'm not going to follow you. Why? Because Noah, as a teenager, he saw what Enosh could not see. Noah could step out of the crowd and see what happened next. The same crowd that hailed Hashem with such creation, passion, excellence, came out from that very sermon and telling each other, no, mercy is around here, so we can do everything we want. So they raped, they raped, they killed, they did everything. Oh, mercy will forgive us. So this teaching prompted Enosh's own audience to become robbed with commit everything, fall down, commit all the crime. And Noah saw that, and he said, oh, no. Idolatry, bring down all these things. I'm not going to join you, my grandfather. So here is a story in short of Noah's side and of Shlomo. We need to talk about the other side. Nama, his wife Nama, she's our mother. This is the mother of all mankind, especially of Noahide. They should know about Nama. I bet they know about everything else, but about Nama they don't know. Nama, our mother. So Nama came from the other camp, who fought Enosh camp, who fought Noah camp. There was a ban of marriage, intermarriage with him. They couldn't marry each other. Yet they did marry. It's fine. So Nama came from the line of the opposite camp, who worshipped Elohim and rejected mercy. Why did they do it? And what was the fate? The Torah, the Torah devote the whole few chapters on that, much space. So the Torah thinks we need to know about Nama camps, even more than about Enosh camp. Amazing. Torah spent a lot of time and effort to tell us about Nama, their line, and what was the face. How did they reject Hashem and follow Elohim? What brought them to do that? And I think for that was next time. Okay, any question for me?